Okay, hi, this is Will again, and this is going to be the second one that kind of focuses on the Wonderware HMI for our final project. And what I have done between this last video is I looked at the interface. We said we were going to hook it up to the Click PLC with serial commands for the Wonderware. Now, the serial works fine with the Click PLC communicating with the Click software, but I can't get the Modbus interface working with the serial interface here. And since the serial interface is used with the motor driver, or the stepper motor driver, I'm going back to the our old faithful Ethernet for how I'm going to hook it up. We'll try to get a little video on the connections that we'll need for the Modbus, but right now I'm just going to go ahead with the Ethernet. That's probably what we're going to use anyway, but that's what we're going to do. So if we look at this, we have some of these commands and some of these lights and stuff on here, and we've got a few of these things registered for motor up, motor down. Now what we don't have is we need to put in our limits that show a little limit for when it's all the way up or all the way down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a graphic, and you can do this too. And so it's an ellipse, so I'm going to make it into a circle. And now I'm going to give that circle animation. So I go up here, animation, I'm going to give it color. And what I'm going to do is I'll right click on the properties, and here it's going to give it colors. Now I'm not going to give it a color when it's off. When it's on, I'm going to make it, I guess I'll make it yellow rather than green. Now here I have to put a limit expression. So what we have here is I'm going to give that the door up signal. So when the door is up, that light will be on. And I'm good there. Now what I can do is just hold down the control, drag it down, and I'm going to make this my door down. So all I have to do is go in here, click on it, and I'll make this my door down. And that's okay. Now the other thing that we need right now is we need kind of push buttons to open or close. And I'm trying to think in the graphics, like we have these push buttons, but I think, well, I think I'll have to use buttons rather than round on off. You know, when we look at our actual thing here, it's got like a round on off push buttons, and I don't know that we have, well, I don't know, maybe people out there can kind of invent their own, but I'm going with a quick and dirty little push button. And in fact, really what I need to do is I'm just going to copy one of these guys. So this is going to be my open. And what I'll do is the tag expression, I'm going to delete that, and let's see if I can, oh, and actually I don't have it here. So, you know, the motor up is this green motor, and the door up is actually the sensor that goes with it. What I need is I need a control, and just like we have HMI start, HMI stop, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to say HMI open, and that'll open the door, and that doesn't exist. Well, so I'm going to put that in the configuration. Yeah, it doesn't exist. I'm going to have to create it, and it's going to be a bool. And so the configuration, I'm just going to say this is open, and I'm okay with the green, and okay, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Well, not that small. Now I'm going to copy the close to have a red one, and I'll put him right beneath it, and this is going to be HMI close. Okay, it doesn't exist, it'll be a bool also. And the configuration will just say close. And again, I'm okay with the colors here. Green open, yeah, not sure. Well, red is fine for what we're doing here. And this will be my push button. I'll have to give it a little more, give it a nice little frame around there. So we have the door open and door closed. And let's take a look at what our screen looks like right now. And put it in run mode. And so I'm okay with this, I guess. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy over to directly above here. I'm going to put some names on these lamps. So let's grab him, and for the time being we'll just kind of move him over in this direction. Now here I want to add some text. So I go into graphics, I go into text, and I'm going to say door open, and I'll try to move him a little better position, and I'll make him a little bigger too. I'll go into there and say properties, fonts, and I'll probably click him up if he's, let's see where he's at right now. If at 10, yeah, let's see what 14 looks like. That's okay. So I'll put him there, I'll copy him over here, and I'll copy him a second time, and put door closed. And here I'm just going to say that's door ajar. And I actually am kind of not putting them in line on purpose so we can do a little alignment as we finish. But so that's okay. Now what else do I need? The only other thing I have is I have this little test circuit for the system for the door. So I'm going to have an inject fault, and then I'm going to have a fault reset. And then I need some indicator that shows when I have a fault. So where and how do I want to put that? And maybe I'll just put something over here as something I can inject a fault. So let's see. Just copy this guy over here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go in here for my fault injection. I'm going to make him a button. And I'm going to change this to say fault injection, inject. And now here what I want to do is, and that's okay, so let's look at the fonts. And yeah, I guess that's okay. I'll make it, well, I guess I'll make it bolder. I'm not sure I want to make it bigger because I'll have to make my button bigger. But what I want to do is I want to click on here and say command. And so what I want is on while, I want to go in here and I'm going to toggle this tag. So, and maybe I'll just say, well, it doesn't matter. On while, I'm going to toggle the tag. And the tag I'm going to toggle is the fault inject tag. So I'll press it once and it'll set that tag. And then when I press it again, it'll release it. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So, oh, and again, I didn't put the underscore in there. So that's not valid. And this doesn't exist. I'll have to create that. And that's a bool. And then over here, and what I'll do is I'll just, for the time being, I'll just copy him over here. And let's see how much room. Well, we're kind of running out of room over here. So maybe I'll move him a little bit beneath this. And what I'll do is I'll call this door alarm. and this guy will be, and I think what we have is something called a system fault, is the way we called it in the PLC. And we'll put OK in there. We're going to create that. And again, I'm just getting things on the screen that I know I want, and this is not going to be where they are going to appear. But the last thing I need is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to move it over here, and this is going to be a fault reset button. And so here, and I'm going to make this the so here, when I press it down, I'm going to set a tag. And the tag I'm going to set is fault reset. And again, this is one we had to simulate with forcing it on in the PLC. And I do this a lot. I need to do the underscore deal. So again, we're going to create that as a bool. And so that's what we have on down, and we're going to set the tag. And so when we go on up, we are going to go in here, and it always defaults into VB script. And now we're going to reset the tag, and it's going to be the same fault reset. So this is another function that you have with the Wonderware, is you can actually set and reset tags. And you can do a lot of things. So you can, if you double click it, you know, you can do it while it's on while. If you have a touch screen, you can do it on touch. So there's a number of things you can do. So right now we'll just have that. So we have our fault injection, and then when it faults we should see a door alarm. And then if we have a fault, then we can, and we have to change this name because that's no good. So we'll go back to the button, and this just needs to say fault reset. So at this point, I think that's all we have on here. We've got everything we need on here, and now what we want to do is we want to marry the tags that are in the Wonderware with the tags that are in the PLC. And again, if we look at the tags in the PLC, we'll be switching back and forth. But when we go in here, what we need to do right now, and we'll probably have to, well, we got a few more minutes for this, is now when I want to marry the tags, I got to go into COM. And I want to have the focus on drivers and right-click that and say I want to add a driver. And again, we're going to use the TCP, so it's Modbus. And so we want to go into Modbus TCP, and that's MOTCP. And all you have to do is click it, OK, go with the parameters as is. And now you can see there's a pull down on here. Now it says main driver sheet. And so we've got some of our tags in here. Now we added some more tags in here. So let's see, we need to put in the ones that we added. So we want HMI open, HMI close. Now let's see, what else did we put in? We have door down, door up, door ajar. So let's put in, well, we don't have start process. How did we do that? And now fault inject, fault reset, and we have this thing called system fault. So let's see, there's 14 tags there. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so the last tag that we want to add here is we want to go to these integers, and we didn't add the one in for I'll call it door cycle count. And this one we're going to create, and this one is going to be an integer. And that's what we're going to use for tags. Now somehow we're going to save changes, I thought I had given this a tag associated with it, and I did not. So for this one, we're going to call it door cycle count. This is the only one we have. Oop, and that was the wrong spot. So I want to cancel that. I want the door cycle count here. What I want for the decimal position, if I can highlight it, I'm going to make that 0 because it just wants to be an integer. So now we have those kind of highlighted. And now what we have to do, well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back into this driver sheet. And for the station, what we need is we need the PLC's IP address. So it's 192.168.0.10. Now here it's :502. And that 192.168.0.10 is the IP. Colon is a separator, and 502 is a common, that's the TCP common port that you'd use for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Control C, and I'm going to copy all of these down here to Control V. Now for my I/O addresses, and if you haven't seen the thing on the HMI, you should. But what we're going to do for all these addresses, and this will probably take us, well, at least to the break, we'll at least start. Well, we will for sure, because what I'm going to have to do for this, to my start signal here, I'm going to have to add a row, and I'm going to have to put my HMI start. So I'm going to put a normally open contact in here. And now I'm going to have to pick a bit address. So it'll be at my C bit. I'm going to have to go into there, and that'll be my HMI start. So when I hit the start from the control panel or the HMI start, it should start. Now over here I also need to put in the HMI stop. Now this one is going to be a normally closed contact, and since that was C19, I'll make this C20, and that's okay. And let me give these names. And also I'm going to have to add one more signal in here, so I'm going to have to add a row. And what I'm going to have to do, because I have my reset signal, that was not what I wanted to do, so I want to delete that. I want to add a rung. So I'm going to add a rung, and I'm going to take my system reset, so that'll be X003. And I'm also going to put a row after this one, and I'm going to make this my HMI contact, and we're up to C21. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to call this one on a contact output, and this will have to be C22. I'm going to make that my system reset. So let me just line this up, and then we'll add a few addresses to this. So right now I want to go into C19. So C19 is going to be my HMI start. C20 is going to be my HMI stop. C21 is going to be my HMI reset. And so these are just going to work in parallel with the ones on the control panel. And then 22 is going to be my system reset. And basically that's just either my HMI or my control panel reset. So those are all in there. Now the thing about this is now everywhere I have X003 I have to replace it with C22. So let's try to go through this, and so this will be C22, and hopefully we'll catch all of these as we go in. We know we're going to have them on the counters, and let's see, and this is a separate counter reset. This one wants to be the C22. And hopefully when we go in here and change these things around, it's not going to totally mess up our program. But No guarantee on that. And so what we also have to do is now we have to add for these open, what we have here is we have the open door push button. So now we have to add in our push buttons for the HMI open. So I have to go in here and add a row afterwards. And this will be normally open contact. And this one, this one is going to be, I think we ended up at C21, so this will make C22. Let's take a look. Oh, C23. So C23, and for the closed push button we'll do the same thing, and that is not where I want. I need to put a row afterwards and then put my normally open contact, and this is C24. And so this is going to be, I'll line these up, and I think after I give these guys names, we're going to take a break with this video. And so I have to go into my address picker, and C23 is going to be HMI open, and C24 will be HMI close. Okay, so I'm going to file and save this project, and now I'm going to go into my Wonderware, and next time out we're going to take a look at this, but I think what we're going to have to do is we have to fill in all these addresses. So I think this is a pretty good stop point, so we're going to stop here. Next time we'll fill in these addresses, we'll turn on the machine, or we'll interface the Wonderware with the actual PLC, and we'll see what it looks like. So